Hello, I'm Kelley Knitz, broker with RE/MAX Preferred and your local Ohio real estate expert.
And I'm Kelley Heidbreder, a real estate agent for Howard Hanna in the state of Michigan. And also, I'm a meteorologist on WTOL. So some people might see me there. And just a little fun fact that I've had my real estate license for about 10 years. And I would definitely credit this lady right here. She's been a coach for me for a long time.
Oh, she's, like I said, she's a natural. I've been doing this for 31 years, and I can identify somebody who will have no problem being successful at selling real
It's
estate.
been really fun getting to know people and to really help them onto their next home.
You know,
it really is a wonderful thing.
All kinds of things in the real estate business, from the foreclosure days. I mean, every market, because I've been doing this for 31 years, I've touched every possible situation. But this pandemic has been the most different market ever. I don't know if this will ever happen. I hope it doesn't happen again. Well, actually, in the real estate world, it's very good for sellers, but it's just been so.
It really has, and I think that one thing we're finding is that there's so much pressure right now to look for a house, and when you do see the house you like, it's almost people are anxious. I have to get in that house today. I need to put in my offer tomorrow. There's really almost like I wouldn't say panic is the right word, but there's anxiety out there because our market right now is just going crazy.
Well, we have right now, today, last year, our inventory is down about 40%.
That's a lot.
And even last year we had low inventory. So it's just really ridiculously low. And, buyers, I mean, in the past, like 10 years ago, if I told somebody to bid over the asking price, they'd think I was trying to make more money myself.
Right. That's a great point. So, for example, if you're looking for, this is a very common request for me, is I want a house that's at least 2,000 square feet, 3 bedrooms, 2 baths on 5 acres. I could sell that house day and night, every single day in my niche in Michigan, because people are really looking for a little bit of space and that size of a farm home or something relatively newer with a basement. They want an attached garage. And I'll tell you what, if that listing comes up in the morning at 9 a.m., by 10:30, they will have an offer on it.
Right, and you better be
an
ready
hour and
to
a half.
Look. Right. So you better be ready to look at the house right away. You can't wait till next Monday to look at it. It's going to be gone.
I think that speaks to your inventory, the fact that you said that inventory is down 40%. We may have had several houses for them to look at in that same criteria, right? But you're saying the same thing here in Northwest Ohio. But now I am still looking for that house for several clients of mine. They just aren't popping up. Another real common one for me is to find someone that wants a lake home. And so I'm looking for maybe a 2,000 square foot house on a lake that's an all sports lake. And there aren't any listings.
Simply in my market, getting a house in Perrysburg is like almost impossible without 15 other offers.
Exactly.
It's
so
just a crazy market.
I think that drives that anxiety or that anxiousness for people. And so, we are seeing a lot of competition out there. And it's because, like you just said, that 40% down, our inventory is so low. So if you are thinking about moving or getting a bigger house or going back to a smaller house, now is definitely the time to talk to us about getting your house listed, because we really want to add to that
you will
pool.
Make the most money on the sale of your home in this market than ever. I mean, now is the time to sell. Don't be afraid. I know people, it is a hard transition. What are they going to buy if they sell their house right now? So maybe you might have to make a plan to move in with a family member, but now is the time to sell.
And I think that you especially have that experience to help that person bridge that temporary gap. Okay, so I sold my house in 2 days. Now what do? I didn't have a house I liked. So that's how we write our offer. There's some ways that we can help you out in that case. But let's say, for example, it's been so crazy on how people will make bids on our homes, right? Okay, so I can give you an example. In near Ann Arbor, I just had a house we put a bid in on, and it was a $350,000 house on a lake, and my client put a $350,000 offer on it, and within an hour they had 7 other offers at the same amount. And what do you do? I mean, you're all in the kitty, all in the pool, basically at the same number, and it just makes people a little bit anxious, I would say.
So in our next video, we're going to talk about what a seller can do and what a buyer can do under a multiple offer situation. So, so then the other thing is that you want to have planned where are you going to be.
Right.
If you sell your house, have the plan ready before you put the sign out there, because it's going to happen.
Well, and I think the other thing we need to get to on this one is the fact that, let's say, for example, I was going on that $350,000 price, right? Let's say my client wants to offer $100,000 more, okay? So now it's a $350,000 list price, And then my client says, well, I'm going to offer $450. We have a problem there, right?
Right.
Okay, what's that problem?
The problem is the appraisal. I mean, you have to have 3 backup, 3 sold properties, probably within the past 6 months. They like to have them within the most recent sales.
And in their neighborhood.
In the closest proximity.
Right. So every bank goes based on that appraisal on what they'll lend you, right?
And these days, we have had more problems with appraisals than we have had in the past. So beware of that issue that could come up. The house might not have appraised at the higher number.
So in this example, the house was listed for $350. The list agent did their homework. They knew those appraisal numbers, so they listed that house for $350. Everyone got anxious, and the price kept going up to $450. Now we have a $100,000 gap in there. We call that an appraisal gap. So explain how we handle that.
So what'll happen is that, you can make the provisions early on and let the seller know that you as a buyer are willing to participate in taking on some of that deficit.
Right.
And maybe it might be half of it, or you can negotiate it, but, let the seller know that you're willing to go, eat some of that.
Okay, so for example, it's a $350,000 appraisal, okay? The house appraised for that much. The bank sends someone out that's totally unbiased. They know nothing about the house at this point, so they go and look at it with fresh eyes. And the way they look at it is they look within that general area. Sometimes it's within 15 miles. Sometimes it's within 30 miles. It just really depends on the property.
It's sold in the closest proximity.
Correct. And they have to have 3 properties so that they can get an average, and that's how they get that appraisal. And so if you have offered $450, there's a $100,000 gap in there. And so what Kelley's saying is that if you're the buyer, you may have to put in an appraisal gap clause that says, I am willing as the buyer to pay 50% of that appraisal gap if it appraises for less than what I offered. So does that make sense?
That'll bring some comfort to the seller, because they're going to know it's never going to appraise for this.
Right.
They're going to know that.
So let's say that, again, the appraisal comes in at $350. I've offered $450. Now my offer comes down to $400 because I'm willing to put that $50,000 in there extra of my own cash onto
the seller is going to be willing to take that $50,000 cut also off the agreed upon purchase price.
See, it's all part of negotiating. It's really tough sometimes, yeah.
And sometimes you can even negotiate possession as far as that goes. Like if you're the seller and you want to sell in a hot market like this, maybe you can negotiate with the buyer that maybe you might get an extra month and they'll pay rent, to stay an extra month. Or there's all kinds of negotiating you can do as far as possession.
And we will tell you all about that in another video coming up, right, Cal?
Right. So if you have any questions regarding what we talked about, you can either call or text or leave a message down below, and we'll get back with you. You can text me at 419-779-6229.
And for Michigan properties, just hit me up, 517-605-9647.
Thanks for watching.